Hello, bonjour. Jan here. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope everybody's well. The weather's picked up a bit here now. It's feeling a little bit more spring-like, thankfully. The sun is shining, which is always a result, isn't it? No matter what the temperature is, if the sun's shining, we're happy. I just thought I'd give you some updates on what's been happening in my life recently. It's been a few weeks since the podcast, and I try and talk about with Sharon as well what we've been up to. But sometimes, by the time it comes around to the podcast, I quite often forget. I do forget what I've done. Sorry, my fringe is all over the place. I thought I'd just let you know now while it's sort of freshish in my memory. Recently, or just before Christmas, I think I told you, didn't I, that we were getting a new car. We'd had a pension payout, and it just prompted us to think now is probably the best time for us to get a new car. It's not something that's really been something that we do, but not that bothered. And I hate the fact that cars cost so much money. And as they say, as soon as you've got that car, you take it off the forecourt and it's already lost a lot of money. So it does put me off. But we managed to find a car that wasn't too expensive, still a lot of money. And so we ordered one new. And I mean, the pit you get, hopefully, and normally, you get that peace of mind, don't you? That it's new and it's going to be reliable, all that stuff. This is not always, but the way it can happen. Obviously, you get some that come off the factory floor with some problems, teething problems, as they say. But you also, obviously, when it's brand new, you get a warranty with it. So at least we know. I think we've got about 7 years, so it's quite good. And it, for Duncan especially, and because it's my car for during the day, and we both use it at weekends, or if we're together, I let him do the driving because he's too much of a backseat driver. So, yes, for peace of mind for Duncan as well, it's nice for him knowing that I'm hopefully not going to get stranded somewhere. Not to say that it wouldn't happen, but you know what I mean. So, yes, we got this car. We didn't pick it up immediately because there was problems getting the right date, but we got it, and then we didn't really use it much because it was 2 days before Christmas, so we didn't go out over Christmas, and we were meeting people and drinking and all that, so we couldn't drive. And then we went on holiday in January, so it's only just started really properly using it now, and we're sort of at the beginning of March. It's been a new toy, as it were, and I'm just getting used to it. I'm going to do a separate video on the car, actually, because I think, as I keep saying in my videos, I like to try and include some translations in French from English, because I think if people are tuning in wanting to know about France, they're going to be people that are possibly coming here on holiday or coming to buy a place in France, or maybe they've got a holiday home here, and it's the normal everyday language sometimes that we need. There are obviously lessons and there's Google Translate and everything, but sometimes it's nice to just hear those words without having to search for them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you into my car at some point. I might even record that today and just talk about the French translations of the car. Yeah, other than that, I mean, Duncan's we've got the other 2 cars still. So we need to do, because they're both obviously insured and everything at the moment. So Duncan has been swapping between my car, my old Twingo, and his car for going to work. I mean, he was left with no choice recently because he's got a problem with the clutch, so it needs a new clutch. But also, he got a stone chip on the windscreen, and which is pare-brise. I guess another word I'm going to say. I'll put as I hear them, and I will translate and put them up for you. And it caused obviously a crack. So he booked that in and got that replaced. And then within weeks, we got a second one. All the time we've had cars, it's never happened. And then we get two within a few weeks. So he stopped using his car and swapped over to my old car. We sort of, when we come back off holiday, we had that windscreen repaired as well. Because what happened was the second time, it didn't just have the chip, it did quite a wide crack. And then we lent the car to Sharon, actually, to go to the airport when she was going to India. And it didn't stop your view. You could see, out the windscreen fine, and it wasn't going to break. But we did say to her, "Are you sure you want to drive it with this crack?" And she wasn't bothered. I mean, she took it one day, and overnight, we think it was because of the cold, that crack was suddenly nearly as wide as the windscreen. But she was still fine with it. She still used it. So that had to be done when we got back. So we're going to sell one or the other. Duncan keeps changing his mind because my car is a right-hand drive. His is a left-hand drive. Obviously, it makes sense in lots of ways to drive a left-hand drive because there's lots of reason for the road layout and everything, for overtaking, all of these sort of things. But in some ways, mine is a little bit more reliable because even though they're both about 15 years old, mine's used less. So it's got a few more years in it yet. It does take a little bit, keep swapping from left to right-hand drive. He's found that a little bit difficult on occasions. I had to have a new tyre on it the other day. For some reason it had shredded. I don't know what how that had happened suddenly. So we had to have a new front tyre on the passenger side. So that's another thing that's been replaced. Most things have been sorted and fixed at some point, I suppose. And it's a very reliable car. But because we're lucky is that Duncan maintains our cars. When he was younger, he used to work alongside his brother-in-law and fixing Volkswagens and things, and tinkered on his own cars, things like that. So he's very knowledgeable when it comes to engines and cars, basically. So if anything ever needs doing, we can save a lot of money by him fixing it for us. And he does the same for Sharon if he can. So yeah, at the moment, he knows that his needs a new clutch, but he's getting round to it, what with working and everything. But now we know it's had a new windscreen. That's absolutely fine. And the new clutch. It could do with some new front seats, really, if nothing else, some new covers. Whereas mine's fairly clean inside. It doesn't really need anything like that. So I don't know. It's up to him to decide now which car to keep. And then we'll sell the other one. There's always someone wanting a little runaround car. I mean, Duncan's car, for some reason, our neighbour said if you're selling the Fiat, the French car, my mother might like it, which I thought was a bit, because it's like a work van. Sharon calls it the work van, because it gets dirty, because it's for work. And you think, really? Do you really want that? But anyway, we can't make the decision until Duncan decides what he's doing. And also there's a lot of English here that cannot take maybe to left-hand driving, so selling my car will be good for them as a little run around as well. Anyway, enough waffle about the car. As I say, I'm going to talk about the car in a separate video. Excuse me, itchy nose. But yeah, other than that, we've obviously been away, we've come back. I've just recently finally, or say I think I sort of instigated it and then Duncan went along with it. We've now made arrangements and booked our flights to go to the UK to see family. We don't see them as much as we would like to because it's just got expensive, unfortunately, the travel. I've said so many times my family can't come to us most of the time because it's too expensive. And if some of them need passports as well, and if they've got passports to get for the whole family, that's a lot of money. So it's down to us in the end to go over there. So we try and find the cheapest way we can do that as well. Ironically, when we bought the car, we just said that, well, at least having a new car, we'll have something reliable to go to the UK in and be comfortable. And if it's a hot summer, we'll have AC, because we didn't have AC that worked in our cars. Well, it did in Duncan's car, but then it wasn't. It needed refilling, but he's never got round to that because that's quite expensive. And because ironically, we've decided that because it's cheaper for us to just take our hand luggage, as we often do, as you know, and just get a flight over, and we're going from Wren to Gatwick. And then from Gatwick, we'll get a train into London, and we'll stay in a Premier Inn or something like that, and stay overnight. And then I've got it all planned out now for which one of my children and grandchildren I'm going to see throughout the time we're there. We're going to go for about 10 days. Duncan will leave me there after a couple of days and get the train to his parents so he can spend time with his parents, because that's the thing. I've got quite a lot of people to see, and his parents are all in one, and his sister are in one area, so it's slightly easier for him to get around and see them all, whereas me, I have to plan a whole week, or whatever time I get to go, I have to plan it out to visit them all. So now I've got it planned, unfortunately, and it may be the case that none of them can get any time off work, so I may only see them in the evening. So I'll just amuse myself, having a wander around the shops, or I don't know, I'll find something to do. No doubt one of them has probably have some housework for me to do. But I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be nice to have a good catch up with everybody. At the end of I'll have a couple of days where I'll leave my children and go and see Duncan's parents as well. So I'll see them as well before we leave. So yeah, so we've got lots of planning. I've planned my week, but there's going to be, as I say, times when I'm not with the children that I need to think of things to do. I don't really want to just sit around and watch TV all day, but I might try and take some sewing with me, maybe. I bought a little cross stitch, tiny little one, yesterday, that I thought might keep me busy if I need something to do. And I might have some more upstairs in the bedroom, actually, that I can take with me. Yeah, so I think even though it's going to be full on, but it always is every time I go, and it's never long enough, but it's better than not seeing them at all, isn't it? And we plan to go somewhere else later on at the end of the summer or something. We're hoping to do something else, and we'll probably use the car then. Actually, we've decided we'll probably drive maybe down to Spain, and we might do a loop Spain round into Portugal and back out again to Spain. That again is going to be another lot of planning. But getting back to more recently, this week is coming up to my regular checkups. On Monday, because I've got a checkup with the oncologist in a couple of weeks, and it's a new oncologist, not met them before. I've got the name, that's all I've got. So, prior to that, I have to go for a mammogram, and I have to sometimes, it'll be a mammogram 6 months. So the next 6 months I have a blood test, so it alternates. And I can't remember if it's every 6 months or once a year, but I go for an osteoporosis scan. So they scan my bones to see how they're doing, really, if they're softening or whatever, because there's side effects to the pill I take for keeping the cancer at bay. Obviously, I've been on it now for, it must be about 6 years. When I get to year 7, they'll decide whether I keep taking it or whether they can take me off it, and hopefully that would mean that they can actually finally announce that I'm cancer free. It's never been mentioned that it's still around, but I suppose it must be the type of cancer that it is, because it's hormone and estrogen. I find it all a bit confusing. If I look it up and I find out, I'll put it on the screen. All I know is I feel absolutely fine. I get sometimes it causes nerve pain, So I have some painkillers for that, but even that has not been that bad. And the confusing thing is that the particular pill I'm on is for women that are menopausal or in menopause. So a lot of the symptoms come with menopause as well. So it's a minefield. So so on Monday I had my mammogram, which in French is mammography. Again, I'm going to put the French of translations of what I'm saying on the screen as much as I can. And also when they do the mammogram, especially, I mean, when you get, I think it might really get to 60, but anyway, they do what they call here a echography, and that is actually an ultrasound in like English. And it's obviously, you know, if you've had a baby, you know, and if you've had an ultrasound for anything else, it just gets in a little bit closer and spots things a bit easier, a bit closer anyway. So what they do, as I say, I get the mammogram. I must admit, I'm not keen on that, as women will know. And obviously some men do have a mammogram. I mean, our neighbour, he's had one. That's a bit uncomfortable, but get that done. And then the doctor then does an ecography, which just basically scans all over. And on the mastectomy side, they took away all my lymph nodes on the same side, because there was signs that it was creeping into the lymph nodes. So they took those out. Because initially, if any of you have watched, I'll try and remember to put the link up, but the video I talked about in the early YouTube days when I had it done, initially I went in for a tumour, a tiny tumour that they were just going to remove and put me on probably similar tablets that they've given me now. But they went in to remove that, and then while they were there, noticed that there was cancer on the whole breast. Now that isn't something, the type of cancer it is, it's not cancer you can feel like a tumour or something. So he said it was. I just said, where was it? Because obviously it didn't come up in the mammogram, and he just said, oh, it's everywhere. So he said the only way is to take the breast away. So that's what they did. So again, because of the type of cancer it is, it can only be really spotted with sort of MRI, which is too expensive to do that all the time. But they do the ecography, ultrasound over both sides and just check that everything's okay. And again, that result and everything was fine this time. Nothing, they were not aware of any changes basically from last time. Then on the next day, I had to go back to the same clinic to have a scan for my osteoporosis, and that seems all fine as well. I did translate the results actually, just because it's, you know, it's like doctor's gobbledygook. It's all figures and medical words, but I got the gist of it, and I just translated a few bits of it, and it basically was just saying that there were signs of osteoporosis, but not, the numbers aren't high enough to say that I've got osteoporosis. So obviously it's something to be watched. Because I've always had some problems anyway with my bones and things up my back and everything, but that has usually been my fault for not being fit enough to make my muscles strong to support the bones. And as you get older, you start to realise that you really should have done that. So I do try to make sure I'm fairly active and keep those muscles working. As you know, I've had problems. I've had knee problems, and I broke my foot, didn't I, the other year? So I'm not, you know, there's no way I've escaped everything. But anyway, other than that, I went out with Sharon yesterday, which is obviously no surprise to you. And our friend Jackie was with us as well. And Jackie wanted to visit the Vid Grenier shop and the Emmaus. Now, you must remember, I've spoken about those many times. They're both basically second-hand shops. The Vid Grenier shop just a place with like booths where people can sell things secondhand. And I know a lot of countries have these. It's not like going to an antique sort of place where they got the booths. It's more everything. If someone's got something they want to sell, they can put it in this booth and they pay for it each month and everything. Quite expensive in my opinion, but it's always worth a look. But because it's expensive, the prices aren't as cheap as we'd like, because they obviously got to get money back to pay these people that are renting the space to them. So, but first we decided we'd go and have lunch, and there's a little restaurant next door. It's like a buffet restaurant. And so we had lunch there, and that was really nice. Had a good old chat, as you do. You know what it's like when ladies get together and have a good chat. I had veal with chips, so basically a veau avec frites. Sharon had chicken with frites, so poule and frites, and Jackie had fish with frit. And then we had a dessert. I had like a little tiramisu type cheesecake, but it was nice. And Jackie had a fromage blanc with a coulis, and Sharon she was showing off and had a fruit salad. Anyway, as I say, it was nice to catch up. And then once we'd fit, because we did that and had to wait there because, as you know, many shops shut at lunchtime in France. So we went for lunch, ate the lunch and took our time because the shop wasn't opening till 2:00. So we went straight in there, did that. We just wandered up and down these aisles looking at everything, and I think Jackie bought something. Oh, she bought a book, which is like a diary, which had some really nice Art Deco pictures in it. Sharon, I think, picked something up, then put it back down again, so she didn't really find anything. But I bought this. It's a scarf. I mean, you could say I don't need scarves, but I haven't got this colour, and I haven't got many pashminas. So I picked up this, and this was €4, and it's all embroidered all the way around the edge, if you can see there. It's embroidery all the way, and it's going to need a wash. Obviously, it's been sat probably in a dusty shop, but that's like that, and that's what it's got, embroidery all the way around. So I was quite pleased with that. It's obviously got some tassels on the end, but I've definitely not got one like that, so that is why I got that. And after that we got back in the car. I decided to drive us all, so we got back in the car. I'm still struggling a little bit with the car, getting used to the gears and things, but it's fine, we're alive. So we went to Emmaus. That's the charity. Again, I've spoken about them many times. For those that don't know, and I know they've got Emmaus in UK as well. I'm not sure about any other country, but it was just founded by this gentleman years ago, and for the homeless and things really. And they have people that are homeless working there as well. And it's very well organised. You've got your shoe section, your toy section, you've got your books, you've got furniture and the electrical part. Then you've got a huge part with paintings, and you've got your haberdashery. Oh, and clothes, of course, but then you've got haberdashery, which is always my favourite section. But I always look in the clothes first, as you know. If anybody knows, I am a bit of an upcycler, so I like to, if I spot something, think I could do something with it, I will buy it. I've still got things to do upstairs, but it's hard to resist. I mean, there's lots of things I have to just put blinkers on and just not look. I can't buy it. So, but eventually we got in the haberdashery and I found some fabric. But prior to that, saying that, there's another section which is bed linen, curtains and things like that. And for anybody watches my upcycled thing, I can't remember. No, we haven't mentioned it, but Sharon and I last week went to record and recorded me trying to show Sharon how to make a top. But when it come to it, the fabric that Sharon had, she hadn't got enough of, so that video had to be scrapped. So that was one of Sharon's aims, was to see if she could find some fabric while we was out yesterday. And she found one curtain in a really nice fabric, which may well do for one of the patterns that we've got. Because one of the tops I made from a curtain. If you watch the other channel, you might remember that. And then found some bed linen, which was a really nice pattern as well, which perfect, because you imagine the size of a duvet cover and things. It's just so much fabric there. She'll definitely be able to make something out of that. But let me say, we went over to the haberdashery bit, and then I found some bits. I probably notice I keep looking over here, it's because this is where it is. I found this fabric. Can you see properly? It's like sort of black and white, and it's very, very, very lightweight. It'll make a really nice drapey top. That, I'll tell you what, I'll see if I can find the label. I might have even tore it off, but I think it's 2+ meters by about where are we? By about a metre and a bit, metre and a half the other way as well. I'm really pleased with that, because that was €4 as well. So I mean, you can imagine, can't you? I mean, I might even get 2 tops out of that. There's quite a lot of fabric. And talking about that, the word fabric, in the UK when I was buying fabric, I'd be calling it material, because you would use both fabric and material. But here you only use the French for fabric, which is tissue. So remember that, because if you say material, basically it's like if you're doing any work, anything you use for work, like Duncan would go and buy materials for his work. I'll put the French words up for that as well. So if you're looking for fabric in France, definitely use the word tissue, not material, because I get a bit confused. Then also I got this, and this is, I think it's up close. I don't think it's a throw, but it could be a throw. Might be a shawl, I don't know. It's a bit too big for a shawl, I think. But it's really nice and soft. It's got tassel on the edge. But again, I saw this as fabric, not what it was intended for. And I didn't realise until I got home that it's brand new. Well, I'm assuming it's brand new because they haven't cut this huge tag off. If it's me, I would be cutting that tag off. But it's Hornmal from IKEA. There's no size. There was a size on the label. Again, I took that off, but it's pretty big. It's double that. And I'm thinking of, I don't know, a jacket or a cardigan. I don't know, a cardigan, something like that. But I love green. So I think that's going to be a nice challenge. So if you want to see what I'm doing with that, then you'll have to subscribe to Foppy Upcycle. I've changed the title now to Foppy Upcycle and Other Sewing Challenges, because I'm doing something, it gives me a bit of a challenge. So yeah, that's sort of latest. I think this Friday, our friends Frank and David are here today. They're coming over to France to their house today. Then on Saturday is David's birthday, and we're going there. They're doing us a nice sort of hot pot, mum pot meal, and it's always really good fun to catch up with those two. I'm trying to think of a present I can get him. I can't think of anything at the minute. The last presents I gave them was I'd done some adult bibs as a bit of a joke for them, but they really appreciated it because they said they're messy eaters. So that's what we're doing Saturday. But before that, tomorrow evening, Duncan and I are going to Natalie and Leon, they're our neighbours and good friends, for those that don't know, going to their son-in-law's play. We've been to a couple of their plays before. Because we're not French, it can be hard to follow, but if they do it well, which they usually do, you get the gist of it, and you can even manage to laugh along with it because you get it. And he's just very good. Him and his wife, they're both involved in amateur dramatics and that, and it's just really good fun. So I thought it was next week, but it's this week. So we're going to that tomorrow evening. So I'll let you know about that when I see you next. So I've just had my lunch. It's repeating on me a little bit. So yeah, as I said, next video will be probably me in my car talking about the car and giving you some of the translations should you need it. And obviously there'll be podcasts coming up in between as well. I hope you managed to enjoy the Morocco videos that I've put up. So I've had comments from people saying they did, and people have been telling me their stories of when they've been to Morocco and how much they love it as well. So, but other than that, oh, I'll tell you what, talking about mammogram and everything, when you hear, I've probably said before, when you have an x-ray or anything here, you bring your x-rays home with you. And if it's a repeat thing, like my mammogram or my ecography, each time you go, you take the year before with you because they want to compare notes. And I don't know if it's done as a way of, they don't want to have to store everything on their servers or in their filing drawers. I don't know, but it's quite nice in a way that you're responsible basically for your scans, and you bring them with you. So I've got my coffee table, some of you might remember, is a box with a lid on it, like a proper old box that Duncan made a table from, and that's basically my filing cabinet for all my medical papers. And yeah, so you got the little, not that you're going to know anything about any of this really because you don't understand it, but you get your bit of results. Then this is the osteo, I don't know if it's going to show the right way round, but it's osteodensitometry. And again, I have no idea what it says. It's a bit gobbledygook, but it comes out like this, showing your bones and everything, and how it's changed or not changed. If I was more medical minded, I may know what it's talking about, and there's more gumph in there. But this is all really for the doctor to look at. It's not, like I say, I don't. They do show you charts of what it should be at your age and what it was before and what it is now. So you can get the gist of it. But all I need to know is whether I need to be doing anything. And this is my mammogram, and all you can see there is my breast. And that just looks like the moon to me. So that's the scan, and then this is the ecography, and that's all photos of what they looked at to see if there's anything close up. But yeah, so you need your own filing cabinet for your medical stuff if you live in France, basically. So I'm going to leave it there, and I will see you next time. Au revoir, à bientôt, and bonne santé.